So Keir Starmer's recent words about a closer relationship with the EU have sparked excited whispers in Westminster and breathless speculation in some newspapers. Those who want Brexit softened or even reversed sense movement. Those circling Starmer from the populist right see a chance to shout betrayal and feed Reform UK's narrative of a Westminster elite desperate to crawl back to Brussels. The truth, as so often, sits somewhere less dramatic but no less politically explosive. Starmer is attempting a delicate political operation. He knows the Brexit settlement has bruised the economy and raised friction on everything from food checks to scientific collaboration. He also knows he was elected as an iron promise not to reopen the single market or customs union. His task is to secure incremental improvements in trade, security, cooperation and youth mobility, while insisting Brexit itself is settled and irreversible. He says these changes will be grown-up adjustments, little by little, in Britain's national interest. So why the sudden shift in tone? Well, there are three drivers. First, the economy looks anemic, the fiscal headroom is tiny, public services are strapped, and if the government wants growth without a giant borrowing spree, easier EU trade looks like the only near-term lever left. Second, US instability under Donald Trump has sharpened UK reliance on Europe for security and investment. Third, pro-European sentiment among younger voters is strong, while the Lib Dem and Greens are waiting to punish Labour if it appears timid or small-minded. However, rhetoric is cheaper than policy. Brussels has its own priorities: Ukraine, defence, industrial policy. European leaders are polite but not hanging on every British word. The first major test of the reset, UK participation in the EU Safe Defence Fund, collapsed over money. That is a reminder that cooperation brings bills. It's also a reminder to domestic sceptics that Europe rarely offers cherry-picking without conditions. And within Labour itself, the debate is sharpening. There is a Europhile faction whispering that customs union membership could deliver growth quickly and heal relations more deeply. There is an equally determined group warning that even talking about customs union risks pushing Leave voters back into the arms of Nigel Farage. Morgan McSweeney's faction argues that holding traditional working-class seats is the route to power. Alistair Campbell's allies argue that the progressive coalition sits in the cities and universities. Starmer's politics often involve triangulation. Here the triangle is wobbling. The danger is stark. If the government talks constantly about the failures of Brexit but offers nothing more than tweaks, it appears cynical. If it goes deeper than tweaks, it risks breaking its word. Either path presents ammunition to Reform UK, a party that thrives on accusations of betrayal. It's already preparing to frame Starmer's language as the first slippery step towards rejoining by stealth. Oh, I wish. The wider question is whether Britain has the patience for incrementalism. Economists warn that the gains from the current reset agenda are small, perhaps half a percentage point of GDP over a decade, against losses far larger. The government knows that full market access will help enormously, but also knows that freedom of movement and rule-taking remain politically poisonous. There's also a political clock ticking. Local elections next spring could be brutal for Labour if the party bleeds votes to the Lib Dems and the Greens instead of Reform. Internal pressure to go bolder on Europe will intensify. Leadership manoeuvres are not unthinkable. Any successor from the Liberal wing could feel much less bound by the taboos of 2016 or 2024. My judgment is that this is not a cunning plot to re-enter the EU, but not a trivial one either. Starmer is changing the tone of British politics on Europe. He is reopening a conversation that was locked in a box and marked "Do Not Touch." That alone matters. Tone is how major shifts begin. If the economic pain continues, if the US proves unreliable, if the public continues to cool on Brexit, those cautious red lines may not look so permanent by the time Britain faces the electorate in 2029. In short, this is a political balancing act performed over a trap door. Starmer is nudging the country towards Europe once more, while insisting that there's nothing dramatic going on. Reform UK will call it treachery regardless. The question for Labour is whether hungry pragmatism can deliver enough economic benefit to silence its critics before the dogs smell blood. Oh, and I've got a lot to say about Farage, but we'll do that in another video.